Hey guys, this is Bella with Mostly Peaceful Latinas, and this is our candidate highlight series. And we are going to bring on Omar Blanco, currently running for House District 115. Hold on, let me bring. Hey, Omar, I know that you're knocking on doors, still busy trying to get people out to the polls. So thank you so much for taking the time to come out and speak to me and speak to our audience. Part of the real goal that we have with these candidate highlights is just getting people out to the polls. The numbers right now in Miami-Dade are looking pretty abysmal. We've got an
Hmm.
11%, trending to probably be one of the lower turnouts that we've historically had in quite some time. And we want to make sure that we
Yes.
do our part to introduce candidates like yourself, your races, and really bring attention to the importance that early voting ends this Sunday. Last day to vote is going to be on Tuesday, which is your voting day. But we really want people to take advantage of this weekend and go out to vote. Don't wait until Tuesday. So Omar, tell us a little bit about your race. You're currently running for for House District 115. Tell us a little bit about your experience, what's bringing you on, and what really drove you to run this race.
Well, Bella, first, thanks for having me. I mean, it's a pleasure to be with you and all your listeners. I've seen some of your podcasts in the past, and great job getting everyone informed and really building a coalition of people to understand, really what the issues are. As you might know, I'm a captain with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. Been a firefighter for over 20 years. I've born and raised here in Miami. I'm a Miami-Dade guy, Miami guy. I was born in Mercy Hospital.
A true Miami
Uh,
bro.
yes, yes. So I've lived in this district that I'm running in for many many years, raising my family here. I'm married to my wife of 23 years. We both are raising our families here. We go to church here. My wife's a teacher in the district. I'm a firefighter in the district. So it's something that's personal to us. I mean, I think a lot of times we find issue with with what's going on in the world today, and I felt this was my one way to kind of be to help spearhead some of the change that I think we feel is necessary here in Florida and in the United States. To be honest with you, I think sometimes the great thing about living in Florida is that we've kind of led the charge, right? We led by example, and I think that to be part of that is kind of how we start to better the things that we've seen gone wrong. We live in the best country in the world. Most people who are from Miami are have immigrated here. My grandparents came many moons ago, and my grandfather, when he landed, told my dad at 10 years old, "Hey, this is from this day forward, we're American," and I think that protecting that, most Hispanics, most people who've come from other countries always say, if from here, where are we going to go? And you hear that often enough, but it's kind of you would think you never would have to say that, right? And it's unfortunate that more and more with the changes and things going on in the world, that we have to have that as part of our dialogue when we talk to voters. But for the most part, I'm running because in my experiences in the fire service, I was asked by my fellow firefighters to lead the charge as president of the our local, and in that I got to work a lot at the state, federal level, and local levels of government. I helped to affect great change in what it is community safety. Help to bring on some of the safety equipment we use today that saves lives, which my firefighters just had a hard time kind of getting that up to through the ranks, right? So I kind of worked with our fire chief at the time, and we were able to find funding to get some of the life saving equipment we have on trucks today. At a state level, I worked with Governor DeSantis and Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez on passing House Bill 426. Sorry, I've been knocking on doors, so I might be a little dehydrated as well. But Senate Bill 426 with Senator Flores, something I'm very, very proud of. We were one of two states that had no cancer coverage for firefighters. And as you can imagine, the carcinogens, and you've heard of PFAS, you've heard of all these things. Many of the departments in Florida, once you ran out of sick time, you were out of a job. And after 20, 30 years of working in the fire service and being exposed to these carcinogens, we were able to work up there to pass this legislation. And I think at that point, I realized that I had the ability to really change things that were just outside public safety, just outside firefighters, and it piqued my interest. And so that's what piqued my interest now. Is I never wanted to run in another area. I never wanted to. When asked in the past, if I would always say I'll run if it's in my neighborhood. And with Representative Alina Garcia moving to supervisor elections, it opened up a position, and I was happy to sign up. I was the first candidate to sign up, and I'm proud of the work we've done. We're supported by police officers, both PBA, FOP, by firefighters from all over the state. Obviously, I've worked well with them throughout my career to help protect firefighters and police officers and the Hispanic Police Officer Association. And I'm highly qualified, ranking the only one in this race by the Christian Family Coalition. So, it really speaks to who I am, what I believe in. Most people, when I get a piece of negative mail about me and they question it, I say, look me up on Facebook, find a friend in common, because this is Miami. We all have mutual friends in Facebook, and ask one of those folks to talk to you about me and my character. I'm a blessed man. I'm a firefighter, and then my wife's a teacher. We're humble people. We don't live outside our means, but we feel that our means are getting tighter with the cost of homeowners insurance, the cost of auto insurance, and inflation overall. And so I think that's getting harder and harder. I have a 21-year-old son and a 17-year-old daughter, and I feel that their ability to afford living here in Miami-Dade is something that gets farther and farther away from their touch. So I believe we've got to start doing something to keep Miami-Dade a neighborhood, and that's what I hope to do. I hate the rant, but I hope that was a good
No, no,
enough
that
opening.
you covered a lot of really important stuff.
Yeah.
Americans right now, I feel like at this time, Americans are really just seeking representation. They want to be represented by people that can identify with their day-to-day issues. You go to the grocery store, eggs are now 11, $10. Gas is expensive. Just right, school uniforms are expensive. Like so many things, these regular politics has come down to the level where it's affecting people. It's not just
Yeah.
about an opinion on politics. It's actually affecting people. When you think about what are some of those top priority issues that are really affecting Floridians right now, what do you think are some of those issues that are most important to you, that would be a goal for you to go in there and represent and fight for, as a member of the House?
Well, we talk about insurance, and listen, I've knocked thousands of doors, Bella, and I tell you, first thing everybody says is insurance. It's interesting. They either look at it from an economical perspective or an absolutely patriotic perspective. They're like, "Hey, I hate paying so much for insurance, but I'm really concerned with the way our country's going." So those are the two the things on the scale there, right? But no one's willing to sacrifice country, but they do want us to focus on making living affordable. So with homeowners insurance, it's interesting because I find that, I used to tell people I probably paid double. I was paying double what I was paying before, but now I think I'm close to triple. I mean, the costs have gotten crazy. And while there's been good legislation done, I think the legislation needs to happen is one that lowers premiums for homeowners in Florida, period. And without losing the fact that insurance companies are denying 30 to 40% of claims. I mean, there was an article in the Herald about a month ago with a study done that showed that some of the big insurance companies had denied 30 to 40% of the claims. Now, there are a lot of underlying issues there that we have to address, but I think making sure that we have an open market for insurance companies to come in. I mean, let's let everybody in. Let's bring regulation down, but guarantee a return on. I won't say investment, but what you put in, what you expect, what you pay for to get out of the insurance company, you should get. And it's interesting because I tell somebody, okay, so if insurance companies are denying, let's just say 30 to 40%, but we'll say 40%, and you take that same methodology and you say, I'm going to take my car to the auto mechanic, and I'm going to say, hey man, I have these problems with my car, I need you to help me fix the problems. And the person says $500, and you say, okay. Takes the car, comes back and goes, hey, good news is I got 60% of the problems fixed. Bad news is 40% are still broken, but you still owe me $500. That's exactly the issue we're having on the insurance side. So I think that we've got to sit in a room and just figure out a way to make it a more affordable solution. I find people are paying off their houses sooner just to not get insurance because it's almost easier to save that money over a couple of years, and then you've got enough to replace your roof or fix whatever damages you might get. And truth be told, knock on fake wood here. We've been very blessed in the last decade here in South Florida. And I want to add, I'm on the Urban Search and Rescue Team, Florida Task Force One, and I do travel to hurricane impacted areas after the storm. We actually get in the surrounding area right before the storm, and then we go in immediately to help the residents of the affected areas. And it is a very it's a very difficult situation. I mean, many of us that lived Hurricane Andrew, I lived down the street from Country Walk, so I know firsthand. We have to make sure that what we do is sustainable. I think oftentimes changes are made, and then they might benefit in one area, but then not have a negative impact in another area. And I think being able to revisit that and making it as sustainable as possible long term should be part of our criteria with whatever we do in Tallahassee. I want to keep safeguarding parental rights in schools. My wife is a teacher, 17, 18 years in Miami-Dade Public Schools. She's now the media specialist at her elementary school in the district. And she sees a lot of issues in the school system that yeah, and not to be critical of any particular area, but protecting parental rights with education. Listen, discipline and structure. I think that's an area where if we keep not disciplining our children for what they may do or have some consequences, they end up being adults who don't understand what discipline and consequences mean. And I think that's something that has always been at the very foundation of basic childhood education and raising our children over the years. So I think those things are important. Taxes, we've got to keep taxes low. Property values have gone up, but we've got to make sure that with that we have to cap it because one of the areas that are very near and dear to my heart are our seniors, our
Oh, yeah.
so and with regards to all these rising costs is an area that's important to me is our seniors. you know, um, my grandparents. I mean, my parents, as they're starting to get into retirement age, we're working on fixed incomes, right? And what happens is when you're on fixed incomes, but the price of everything has doubled, then I think what we do is we find ourselves in a situation where people can no longer afford to live in their own houses. Here you are preparing to live the best years of your life, your retirement years, things that people think and talk about all their lives, they work hard for, and now they're finding that they can't afford to. I have a great example on a young lady I met that I was walking in her. She's retired. Her husband passed away recently, unfortunately, and her insurance she got turned down. They just didn't renew her. So she has to go out and get insurance. Now, the insurance she had was for 40 years, 30 years plus, and when they didn't renew her, she had to go to get insurance. Now the insurance, as you can imagine, wasn't the premium wasn't as cost as affordable as it was now. It was cost prohibitive. She couldn't do it. She finally had to make ends meet, made it happen. They come in, they say, well, you need a new roof. So now here's a single widowed, I should say, retired woman, lost her husband, has to get a new roof on the house, and has to pay for it. Plus, the insurance has gone up. Again, she's on a fixed income. She ends up having to get a mortgage on the house. Okay, to pay for the roof. She gets the mortgage, and then she realizes the additional monies with insurance and to pay this loan. She has to not only get a job, but she has to end up having a family member move in to help subsidize the cost of doing so. So, listen, things happen, and I understand that, but I think where the insurance market is in Florida, it's and there's a lot of challenges on all sides. I don't want to I don't want to dismiss the fact that Florida is unique into other parts of the state, but we've got to work on keeping it affordable and making sure that we protect what it is, the insurance market, so that it is available for all residents. Public safety, enhancing public safety. I mean, I've done this for 20 plus years. I tell you, there's so many areas that we can continue put more police officers on the road. I understand well how that works. The importance of, you know, we got communities where, now with I'm going to go on a little rant here, but having knocked doors on all these communities with ways and all the different road restrictions and traffic in Miami, a lot of people are zipping through people's neighborhoods, and it's a dangerous thing. I mean, I got to tell you, I feel it's something we've got to start looking at as part of our of what we do, because we've got to be able to keep neighborhoods. I believe that if you walk your dog, if you ride bike in the neighborhood, that should be something that we continue to do. I mean, when we were kids, that we used to play baseball in the middle of the street, right? I mean, some things have changed, but not all things must change, and I think keeping those traditions is important. And again, I go back to protecting our seniors. It's just something near and dear to my heart. I was spent a lot of time with my grandparents growing up. May they rest in peace. But I think that they deserve for us to make sure that what the things we do are only helping them to enhance their life, not make it harder. So I think we have to keep that into consideration. That's a responsibility as Floridians we should and take on, and even as Americans. So
I think
just a
those
few of the things. And if I
fantastic
could,
platforms that are fantastic things that are very important. Everybody
yeah,
that I talk to, I'd say that the insurance and parental rights are two of those things that are just at the top of just about everybody's list that we talk to on a regular basis. And the insurance issue, I mean, it's a crisis at this point. It's something that's
yeah,
affecting every homeowner is feeling this, and even for you with young kids, this next generation is stepping into adulthood, and it's almost impossible to be able to step into it because of the right. It's just how unaffordable it is, and it's very sad to imagine that these families that have been in Miami-Dade generationally, we love our community, we love our county where we come from, and the idea of thinking that there's a next generation that's just not going to be able to maintain it, not because they want to leave Miami or because or because they just stopped loving it, but because they can't afford it. It has to be addressed. It has to be
right.
addressed.
And
Uh,
that'll cause families to move, and it's happening now. People's kids, you hear they're moving up north, and the family's what it's all about. Listen, and if I could, Bill, I say two things I want to say. One is, I tell everybody, look, in my house, and my good friend Deacon Ralph Gazitua, many years ago challenged me to have a family mission statement. And I sat with my family, we talked about it. It was kind of cool. And so our family statement is, we honor God, love our family, defend our country, serve others, and never give up. It's a very simple thing, but I recently was telling somebody about that, and they were like, "Wow, if I'm sure that's something as Americans we can all agree on." I mean, I got to think most of us agree on. So I always tell people, look, if we're going to disagree on something, for God's sakes, I've been married 23 years, and to the love of my life, and I guarantee you, we don't agree on everything, but we do agree on those things, and I think that's the foundation that we really got to bring this country back to. And God, we trust. I mean, how not how do we get away from that? I'm not sure that I know that that's not the right path forward. But another issue I wanted to bring up was boater safety. Boater safety, very
yes.
important. I'm a firefighter. I see the accidents. We have a fireboat program, second to none. One of the best in the country. One of the best firefighters on those fireboats. And I can tell you that boater safety is something that we need to start getting involved in, right? And making sure that people know how to drive boats, people understand, the laws in the water. There's just a lot of things that go on out there that most people don't know a lot about it until it makes it on the news. But lives are affected, and so that's one of those areas that outside my basic platform, it's something that I will be looking to work on.
That's very
Many
unique. to you. I feel I haven't heard anybody else bring this up. Where my family, I come from a family of boaters, and I can attest to what it is that you're saying. It is it's like the wild west out there sometimes.
Yes,
So
yes.
it seems like that's a very unique platform to take on, Omar, and one that's very important.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing. I don't it's a lot. There's a lot of things, and again, if I go back a couple of years before being a someone who's running for office, I'm very concerned about a lot of things in our state. So it's just there are many issues like this that Floridians and folks in District 115 have a lot of little these all these little concerns, voter safety, all and they're not to I don't say little like not to minimize it, but there's a lot of issues that we've got to work on, and I think that's where we have to have a dialogue. That's what we got to be focusing on. I feel like sometimes we get focused on things that are more of a distraction than it is, the right thing to do. And I think that's where my experience as a firefighter, as a captain, having managed, teams of first responders, working in all different kinds of environments, and a lot of the work we do is seconds count, right? So we're really focused on a very unique structure when it comes to working, but more importantly, how to avoid distractions. And I hope that that's the experience I bring to the table where a lot of these distractions that get in the way of us doing good work, we've got to be able to set those aside and make sure that the work and the intent of the work is seen excuse me, seen through. So that's something that I think sets me aside from most folks running for office is my background in really, and people say it all the time. They see firefighters coming into a structure fire, and they say, "Man, everybody knew what they were doing. Everybody had a job and a role." And that's the structure of the fire service. It's a paramilitary organization, and we have a mission, and that is our number one priority. Everything else is a distraction, and we tend to stay focused on task.
Omar, my last question for you is, and it's not so much as of a question, is we got to get voters out there. I want to give you a
Mm.
few minutes to just talk to our audience and let them know about the importance of, we know that they're busy, we know they have other things going on, but why is it so important for them to come out and vote? But more importantly and specifically, why is it so important for them to come out and vote for you?
Well, a couple of things. I tell everybody to go out and vote, whoever, regardless of who you're voting for. Get involved. I think it's important. I think a lot of people feel that way, but I think everybody uses life as an excuse to get in the way of the things. But somebody once told me, hey, if you're not doing it, it's not a priority. Make getting involved in affecting change for our community, for the future of our country, the future of our great state. Make it a priority. If voting is a priority, you will go out there. If you're not doing something you should be doing, you just haven't made it a priority. Why you should vote for me? Listen, like I said, I'm born and raised here in Miami-Dade. I'm a blessed man. I'm not running because I need anything. I've got everything I've got at home, and I've got a great career. But I believe that we've got to continue to fight to protect this great country and this great state. And I believe that my views, family views, my character aligned with what this district needs and what we need in our state representative. And I think that'll set me aside from my opponents. And I hope that if there's any questions on my background or on anything that might be published out there, that there's any questions that folks would reach out to me. My number is 305-677-0307. They can call me anytime. If I'm walking, somebody at the office might answer, but I return phone calls. We try to get to every email, we get to every text. And our goal is to just build a relationship with voters so that they feel that they are being represented. I think that is one of the big issues. People say, "Hey, you come around here, you talk to me, and we have a great conversation, and I vote for you, but once you get in there, you forget about me." And I'm going to tell you, I'm still an active captain in Miami-Dade. I will continue to be a captain in Miami-Dade as part of my role at the state level. So when I'm not up in Tallahassee, I'll be coming in to work and serve my community because I'm just a guy whose superpower is public service, and I leave you with that. I love what I do. It's all I've ever wanted to do, and now to be able to do it for District 115 and the voters and residents of Miami-Dade, I think would be a great honor.
Omar, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talking to our audience. We wish you so much luck on your race and hope to be able to check in with you on the other side of this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bella, and keep doing a great job. We'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.